I just finished a hectic arm workout with the boys and I needed to sit down and speak about this because we're all speaking about it at the gym, and I think this is absolute game for you guys. This is pretty much the exact funnel that I used to generate over $50,000 a month with my own content agency. This generates us clients every single week. It generates myself clients, but also my clients. And so this is all done without cold DMs, without paid ads, and I'm gonna run you through the 5-stage process that I'd followed, going from optimizing your profile to the content you're posting, the story sequences I want you to run, the DMs and what that should actually look like, and then getting ultimately these leads onto a call to close them and getting them as a client. How to generate clients, not just in your local network, but also around the world. My agency is global. I wanna work with clients all over the world, and that doesn't need to require me just to be there to film a video. So this is a pretty cool funnel that I want to run you through. This is just one of the funnels that I teach with my own clients. And this is exciting because I'm going to run you through an example that I took my client through named Jai. What I'm going to do, I'm going to chuck 25 minutes on the timer. Let's run through this and let's get fucking cracking. So Jai's one of my clients and he's got a pretty interesting offer. He helps barbers scale their personal brands and helps with the back-end content systems to scale. That's pretty much what he does. And I mean, we've been able to do some pretty cool things with Jai because only recently his account was on 100 followers, which is fucking funny to see because not long after, I'm pretty sure it was actually exactly a month, we took him to 759 followers. He hit a video that was over 230,000 views. He's got a shit ton of inbound leads now. As you can see, he was flooded. And this is all from one piece of content that we talked about. He was also attracting his ideal buyers from the UK, the US, Australia, Canada, Germany. Like every one of those 4 top countries are countries you want to be working with. That is the most crucial thing. If you're working with those top 4, they've got the most buying power and therefore you have the most chance of closing these sort of clients, especially the UK and the US, and I mean, even Australia. And it's just some other results because obviously I'm just a guy on the internet who's speaking to you about running funnels for your content agency and video agency. And so Jai actually closed a 20K client in the first 2 weeks of us working together. Some of my other clients are closing 3K retainers, 5K retainers. One of my other clients just got a 51K month in November last year. Nelson was absolutely crushing it. Here are some of my own results, cash collecting over 15K in a single day. Everyone's crushing it. And it's because they're using their Instagram profile as a funnel to bring customers into their network. They get nurtured, they see their content, they build their trust, and then they buy. So this is what we're gonna be going over. The 5-stage process of basically how we took Jai from inconsistent, 100 followers, not actually understanding how to use his Instagram as a funnel, to now being able to bring in an absolute influx of leads. This was a fucking crazy transformation to see. So before I get into this, there are 7 buyer conditions that every single customer needs to see and needs to feel in your content in order to buy from you. Because the reason organic content converts better than cold outreach or paid ads isn't about reach or followers. It's because it's the only method that meets all 7 buyer conditions a buyer needs before they're ready to purchase. So they need trust. They need to see that you're the authority. They need to see that you're providing value to the marketplace. You want them to have the desire to buy from you. And that's only built from consistent content. You also need to build urgency. If you can build scarcity around what you're talking about, it's game over. Autonomy. When they reach out to you, they feel way more inclined to buy. Because if you're cold DMing everyone, they don't feel inclined. You've just reached out, you've just popped up out of nowhere. And so risk removal, this isn't risk reversal. Risk removal is removing the risk that they want to feel when they're ready to buy. And that only comes through consistent content. Risk reversal is like you offering a certain thing with a money back guarantee. And so cold outreach meets 1 of 7 conditions. Paid ads meets 2 to 3 of 7, but organic content meets all 7 of these conditions. And that's why organic content has been the absolute key driver of client acquisition for my own agency. And so this is the exact 5-stage process that I want to run you through. We're going to be breaking down Jai as the example for today. So your Instagram needs to be so optimized to the point that someone can click on your profile and know exactly what you do the second they click on it. So the bio was the first thing we changed. because he did not have an optimized bio. Jai was lost. So what does Jai do? Jai helps businesses turn content into consistent inbound leads. He could niche this down even further to saying barbers here, but the bio needs to have one person, one pain, one outcome. Name the pain they're in or the result they want. That's the main key takeaway from here. You always want to have a CTA because we get a ton of leads just from the CTA in my bio alone, which is pretty cool to see because once they click on your profile and feel nurtured enough, they're going to send you a DM. And so I always believe that having some sort of CTA in your bio will help immensely with lead flow. Make sure you have a link. Don't flood this with fucking 5 different links. Don't have a link tree. Have one. Make sure it's to your YouTube channel, which is what I always recommend all my clients. That's pretty much where I put them. If you have some sort of landing page, I'd potentially recommend that, but I would not have multiple links because a confused mind says no. And so the more confused your prospect feels, they're not gonna buy from you. And you're gonna scare them off. So don't confuse your clients. Don't confuse your prospects, sorry. Your story highlights are insane levels of trust. Honestly, the way you need to see your story highlights is just stacking proof over and over and over. Because when I'm wanting to buy something, I want to see proof. I want to see what the guy I'm about to buy from has done for their clients. And so that's why the more proof you can stack in here, the better. Anything from results/clients, profiles, work/life, show a bit about what you actually do in your spare time, show your life. Story highlights add insane proof. Curiosity, credibility, authority. The 3 things you want people to feel in your content. You want to feel credible. Authority will add so much more proof to what you do, but curiosity at the same time. Like, who the fuck is this guy? Why is Jai getting insane results for his barbers, for his barber clients? If I was a barber, I want those results. I want to see that for my business. That's how you optimize the top part of your profile. Now, coming over to the 3 pinned posts, which is extremely important. So pay attention to this. Your story needs to be your most important focus on your pinned profile. When you look at this, Jai's My Story goes from who you were, what you built, and why it matters. Because without that, no one gives a shit. No one will buy into your story if no one feels like they've been in your shoes. So the more you can be the most authentic self in your My Story video, people will buy into that because they want to buy from you. That's what you're selling. The best client result you have. So Jai sat down with his client. We made sure we set up a client in-person interview, which is something I'll touch on a little bit later, but these videos are absolutely ripping right now. In-person client interviews where you sit down with your client, have it as a long form, but also a short form. They fucking do so well and build an insane amount of trust. And then on top of that, your mechanism. So your mechanism, we actually haven't optimized this for Jai, but your mechanism will come in at the point of sharing what you actually do that you've helped transform your client. So your name system, what do you do differently? And by the time someone consumes all 3 of your pinned posts, they should be 80% sold before they ever DM you. So yeah, your mechanism needs to basically show that you are the authority. What makes you different from your other competitors? Why would someone buy you over the other person they're looking at working with? So like I said, when someone consumes all 3 of your pins, they need to feel 80% sold. And if they don't, and if you take a step back and look at your 3 pin posts, have a look. Would you buy from you? Would you buy from you? That's what I continuously ask myself every time I put a piece of content out there. Now remember this rule. Your bio is the only thing a stranger sees before they decide your content is worth watching. It is 3 seconds to answer 3 things. What's in it for me? Are you credible? And what do I do next? Get it wrong and nothing else in the system matters. What's in it for me? Are you credible? And what do I do next? That's how you want people to feel. All right. Now the authority content. So there's 3 different types of reels that I manufactured with Jai that really got him to have an influx of leads coming in the door. And also the other day he just cash collected 6.5K. So
3.5K up front.
Yep.
And then it's going to be 1450 for month 2 and 3.
This is exactly what we did. We'll start off with the Sam Rascals video. We need to have a video that names exactly what your ICP is experiencing right now, why it works. So we need to have achievement-based reels. In this, we really delved into the achievements Jai has been able to face and overcome with his current clients to show that he's been able to authority hijack as well. So showing that you're actually getting achievements for your clients, but then also bringing in the hero figure of your ICP. So the way Jai did this is he used Sam Rascals. I didn't know who Sam Rascals was, but he's a really famous barber. And so using that authority from someone who's already extremely well known, but bringing that into a client result, that's using a bottom of funnel idea as a top of funnel piece of content, which is gold. Make sure you do that when you're actually trying to leverage your bottom of funnel results. And then a contrarian take. Jai didn't mention this is why barbers don't get great leads every single day. He mentioned the content system that he used. And so the difference between that is anyone can search up how to get leads for a barber. It'll probably come up with cold outreach, just fucking run some paid ads. But what it will never say is a content personal branding system. Claude will never give you that. But what Jai can mention is he used the content system to scale his clients. Now the format I would use for this is some form of green screen, which worked extremely well for Jai, or more of a side angle. So even something like this, speaking on a computer, they work extremely well right now. Now the mechanism. The system you've built explained in real time. So why it works, it's technical driven because he's explaining a process. It's showing the behind the scenes process as well. If you've got any BTS with your client, that'll work extremely well. And then it's data driven. Make sure you're mentioning numbers, where your client was and where you took them. Because the better and the bigger results you have, people will always love hearing that sort of stuff when you mention numbers. Now the format you need to use, any sort of behind the scenes process, but you can even use this in a day in the life format, but integrate the mechanism. That will be powerful because the way I see content is you can set up your camera, do a talking head video, but you look the exact same as everyone else. So how can you almost integrate these middle of funnel ideas that are more complex to your ICP, but targeting it at a way broader TAM, total addressable market? And so the way you like to do this is in formats like a day in the life, because a day in the life anyone can understand. But when you set up a camera and start talking about the content system I use for barbers to help them scale and doing XYZ, like it's not going to attract a broad TAM. So attracting a broad TAM is good, but having niche ideas in it, more middle of funnel ideas, will help a lot. That's the format. Data driven, behind the scenes process, using any sort of day in the life. Now, buyer conditions it meets. Value perception, there's a ton of value when you're speaking about a certain mechanism, and autonomy, because these sort of videos will get someone to reach out to you. And so that's why they're extremely important to have, and you can't miss out on the mechanism videos. We actually got 12 minutes left. Time flies. Social proof reel. Now this is what we were speaking on before, a client interview. I want you to sit down with your clients and get them to actually give you a client interview. And the way I want you to do this is don't frame it in a way of the results you got, but speak on it as you're almost speaking to a friend. Because no one likes watching a 30-minute video of a client result. Everyone knows they're about to, like, the video is there to basically sell them. That's why most people will film sit-down client videos and client interviews. But when you can phrase your questions in a way that almost shares the process they went on rather than the results you got, and let the results be the byproduct of the video, because that will be so much more powerful. You know what? Send me a message on Instagram. I want to send you the exact script that I use for my own client interviews, because they will help you a shit ton when it comes to filming client interviews with your own clients. Send me a message on Instagram. So the way I want you to do this, client interviews, or even some lifestyle, like how did you change your client's whole lifestyle through your content and ultimately being able to bring them a return with your content? That's great, because people love lifestyle content. People want to be like other people. People look up to other people. Why it works? It's transformational. People love a transformation. They love a to Z sort of process and how that actually looks. But it's very good when it's niche important as well, because it's really speaking to your ICP. Now the format can be any sort of side angle, interview style, anything like that. Jai did more of a side angle here, and this performed really well. I got 7,500 views, but I can almost guarantee that I reckon 80 to 90% of them would have been barbers, and he's built a very good audience of people who are barbers now. And so the buyer conditions it meets here: risk removal plus authority, because it really is removing the risk. They don't feel like that barrier is up. They're seeing more of Jai in his most authentic self. He's just speaking to his client like they're mates. But it also gives him a lot of authority when a client's selling you. I can sit here and talk about how good I am, but what's going to be even more powerful is when my clients share their process and share their experience working with me. And so think about that from a third person perspective. That's the way I always love to look at it. 3 posts a week: 1 call out reel, 1 social proof reel, and 1 mechanism reel. The rule: 1 video that speaks to the right person is worth more than 100 videos that speak to everyone. Audience precision beats audience size every time. Keep that in mind when you're posting your content. That's the way I love to look at this, and it helps so much, so much. Now, we've got 9 minutes. I love my little timer. You should get one of these actually. I think they're actually like cooking timers, but they work really well for just videos like these. All right, stories. I won't run through all of these, but I'm going to share a few story sequences that actually converted Jai's audience from just being a follower to becoming a buyer, ultimately a lead to a buyer. Now, these are extremely important, so pay attention to this. Results stack sequence. The more proof we can stack on stories, the more powerful it's going to be, because when you post a story, you are the closest you will ever be to your audience. Not all your audience sees your reels, but I can guarantee that almost 80% of your followers would see your reels, would see your stories. And so that's why stories will always be king when you're converting your leads into buyers. So this is almost where the selling happens. A credibility-based sequence where you show your client success, transformations, or Zoom calls with your clients. So what we did here with Jai was actually really smart. 40 days ago, so we did a time call out. What his life looked like 40 days ago, what his client's life looked like. What's his name came to me saying his online presence lacked professionalism. He never had time to produce consistent content. His personal brand lacked recognition. And so all we're doing here is mentioning pain points from your clients. So if you don't actually understand your client's pain points before working together, you need to understand that, because otherwise everything else doesn't matter. You won't be able to speak to your ICP and your content, and therefore every single piece of content is going to fall apart. You need to get so clear on who you're speaking to that every single piece of content feels like you are speaking directly to your audience. That's how you need them to feel. So what Jai did here as well, which is really smart, is he's speaking to barbers. Barbers would take Snapchat photos. So that's why he put this screenshot, because his ICP feels that they're taking these Snapchat photos. It doesn't look very professional. So his second story sounds something like this. The next week, I began to implement my authority blueprint into his business. Firstly, authority blueprint mentions his mechanism that he uses. Now that is important, because having a mechanism that differentiates himself from his competitors is important, because no one else has the authority blueprint. Only Jai has. So I want to work with Jai because he has a blueprint that no one else has. Now that he's differentiated himself, he's brought in clients who are pre-sold on his services, transformed his personal brand, positioned him as the obvious choice in his field. So now we're mentioning the dream reality of what his client's life wants to be like. And the best part is, all he had to do was show up for a couple hours per month, and the rest was taken care for him. Now that's gold. Now it shows a transformation, and then he leads them onto a YouTube video, gets them on the long form, and really stacks up those long form hours. If you're wanting to be an authority in your respective industry and have clients begging for your service, just like Eclipse, watch this. And bang. Then he gets them on the long form, he gets them watching 27 minutes of Jai, they're gonna be way more bought into his process. All right, we've got 5 minutes left. Let's keep going. I won't be able to run through all of these story sequences, but I'll run you through one more. A Q&A sequence is really cool. This is one that I love to utilize, because in your Q&A sequences, you can break down your client's pain points in the questions you get answered, in the questions you get asked. Answer frequently asked questions and use strategically to pre-handle objections. So when you run something like this, don't try and answer every single question in them. Only answer the questions that will pre-handle objections. But also, if someone has asked about your life and maybe something you do outside of just your business, that is also important because you want to share some more of the personal side of you at the same time. That really helps. All right, stage 4, the DM. Now, DM setting can be confusing, but if your clients come pre-sold, this helps extremely because when they're sending you your CTA message, they're already a warm lead. You don't need to run them through a massive setting process, but you can go straight into the setting process. So they mentioned the word clients, they've sent the message. Hey, Jordan. So let's just say Jordan's the client or Jordan is the potential client for Jai. Tell me a bit about where you're at with the barbershop right now. Been cutting for 4 years, got a loyal base, but it's all word of mouth. Bang. So he's not using anything as client acquisition. Posting on Instagram, but not really getting new bookings from it. Feel like I'm invisible online. All right, perfect. That transitions into, got it. What's the main thing stopping you from getting consistent new clients through your content right now? All right, sweet. This is great because now he's talking about content. He's got no idea what to post. I film a cut and throw it up, but it gets like 200 views and nothing comes from it. Don't know how to make content that actually brings people in. Now that's gold. Because now he's got a pain point. He's got a struggle. That's exactly what we fix. We build you a content system that turns your Instagram into a client machine. Want to jump on a call this week? Yeah, 100%. When works for you? Keep it simple because when a client is inbound, you don't have to do a lot of setting. It should be a pretty simple process. And the way I like to look at this and the way my business partner tells me is you need to be a doctor. You need to diagnose the problem here. And so you need to understand where their pain points are and what they're struggling with. Be the doctor because you understand this more than your prospect. They don't understand it. You don't have a plumber come around to your house and you ask them like, how are we going to unplug the toilet? They just know what to do. It's the same here. You understand what to do. You just need to uncover their pain points, uncover their struggles, and take the conversation from there. So step 1, build connection first. Uncover the pain points because 50% of the setting is finding the real problem. Finding the real problem isn't isn't your client just saying, lack of leads. Because lack of leads could be anything. Like what have they tried in the past? What have they failed to do? Step 3, find the dream outcome. What do they actually want? Now also really deep dive into this. Really deep dive. If they say freedom, like what does freedom look like? I find that all the time. I just want more leads coming to the business. Like what does that unlock for you in your life? Like that could really, more leads for them could truly mean they want to spend more time with their family. Those are the things you need to uncover. And step 4, qualify, make sure they're qualified, make sure they actually have the funds. And before you book, confirm they have the budget, the problem you solve. That's it, keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate the setting process in this because at the end of the day, they've come inbound, they want to work with you and their whole guard is dropped. All right, we've got 45 seconds. The 3 rules of setting. Be human, don't be a robot, be yourself, like even send voice messages. Because when you do that, people feel that. People feel that you're being authentic. Hold your frame at the same time. Don't let them hold the frame in the conversation. Make sure that you're still asking the correct questions to have the conversation flow. Because if you don't, it'll be a fucking mess. And also, 80% of no-shows don't want to show up. So don't be bummed out if they don't respond or they're not getting back to you because majority of the time, they probably didn't want to work with you in the first place. Now there's 2 ways I see this because the typical agency model is done for you. We'll run a tiny bit over time. Done for you. They're local. So for example here, Jai would have showed up to the shop, he films the cuts, he builds the content system on site, and Jordan the barber, keeps cutting. Jai handles everything. But with a done with you system, a remote system, Jordan films on his phone. You curate the strategy, script the reels, edit and post. The full system with no travel required. Understand that you don't need to be on site to film the content because you understand the content system. So think about that. You don't even need to be there. The content is the lever that you're pulling. I've got another video breaking this down. If you want it, click on my profile, it'll be there. Otherwise, send me a message on Instagram, I'll shoot it over to you. I've got a full video breaking down how you can actually run the done with you model. So you don't need to be on site to film with your clients. And it's all about the strategy. That's fucking important. Okay, the last thing, the call. Make sure they're pre-sold and inbound. That's very important. But majority of the time, if they're messaging you, they will be pre-sold. Now, the best part about the call is the trust is already built. There's weeks of content that they've watched. They feel like they already know you. Objections are pre-handled. There's a high show rate. The call starts warm at the same time and there's full autonomy because they reached out to you. And so the call really shouldn't be a sales call. It should almost feel like an onboarding call for your client. They've gone through your process, they've gone through your content. They should feel like they trust you and know you before they even get on the call. And that's the best part about organic content. And the result of this, 1 of 3 buyer conditions met on a cold call, 7 out of 7 buyer conditions met on an inbound call. What the call actually is at stage 5. It's not a pitch, it's not a confirmation. They already decided, you're just making it official. Now, this is just one of the acquisition channels I teach my clients in getting leads for their agency. And honestly, it's one of the simplest funnels to follow. You can use your Instagram account to get leads. And it really is just as simple as putting strategic pieces of content out there, nurturing them with your stories, and then getting them in the DMs and going from there. That is it. And the best part is you can work with these clients from anywhere around the world because only you have the content systems to help them scale. So if this video helped you in any form, send me a message on Instagram. I want to be able to help you out. I want to point you in the right direction. And I really appreciate you guys for watching. I want to give you guys as much value as I possibly can to get you guys to ultimately pay for my paid program. At the end of the day, that's why I am doing this. But if I can give you any benefit to be able to help you with the free stuff I'm putting out, then enjoy. I hope you can grow. I hope you can make a fuck ton of money because that is what I want to help you do. But like I said, send me a message on Instagram and I will see you guys soon.